Hey y'all, Gramma here. It is that time of summer. It is hot and I am sitting inside this afternoon after working in the garden this morning. I found something in my garden that needs to be taken care of almost immediately. Now, it might be able to last for another week or so, but I have a Kajari melon that is getting rather large. And if you watch Jess and Maya, Jess Sowards of Roots and Refuge Farm, she is the queen of Kajari melons. And she's the one who has gotten everybody in the country growing Kajari melons. I had never heard them before. Had you ever heard of them before you started watching Jess? And if you don't watch Jess, you need to. She's plugged me. I will definitely plug her. She doesn't need plugs because I think everybody knows about Jess. However, Jess was talking the other day on her video that it was about time to make supports for her Kajari melons and what you could use for supports for the Kajari melons. So it's sort of like a Kajari melon bra. They need support, and if they don't get support, then they're going to fall to the ground, literally. And if they fall to the ground, they might crack open. Like, think about what would happen if you dropped a cantaloupe on the ground, or you dropped a watermelon on the ground. Chances are it's going to crack open and it's going to be ruined. Don't want that to happen. So if you're going to grow these melons on a trellis, and I'm growing them on a trellis. Now, if you're growing them, or any kind of melon, and you're growing them on the ground, then you might as well turn this off because this has nothing to do with what you're doing. However, if you're trying to grow a large fruit, a melon, on a trellis, then they need support. Otherwise, they're going to break and they're going to fall down. So, this is the question. What are we going to use for supports? What kind of support are you going to use? Now, I started looking in my drawers and in my craft room for things that I could use. I've seen people use pantyhose. I don't have any pantyhose. I have some knee-highs. I quit wearing pantyhose a long time ago. And I have a pair of knee-highs for if I ever need to wear a dress and put on a pair of heels, which is very rare. Even at church, I don't wear heels. So, what else can you use? I found some tulle. I made some Christmas ornaments a couple of years ago that used tulle. I have tulle left. That would be good. What else do I have? Oh, I have a bag that some onions came in. That would work. Or potatoes. I have some bird netting. And I have some string. Now, what are we going to do with the string? So today is going to be a craft project. We're doing macrame. Have you ever done macrame? I haven't done macrame since the 1970s. It's been a very long time, and a lot of you probably weren't even born when I was doing macrame. And I didn't even do it very long at that time. I've always been kind of a rebel when it comes to that kind of thing. And I had gotten a book from the library, and here was this obscure craft in the book, and I learned how to macrame, and it was fun. I made myself a belt. About that time, macrame hit it, and it was all the fad, and everybody was doing it. And at that point, I didn't want to do it anymore. I was having fun doing a craft that nobody else could do. So I figured if I wanted it, I could buy it from somebody else. I still know how to do it. It's not hard to do. And even if you don't know how to do it, you can look up on YouTube and you can learn how to do it. So I'm not going to teach you how to do the regular macrame where you use 4 strands of yarn or string or cord or whatever you're going to use. I'm going to do something very, very simple, tying a basic knot. And so let's do it. Let me show you first of all what I have out here on my table. And then we can work on some macrame together. Okay? So let me turn the camera around and let you see. It's a good thing I'm inside. It's thundering. Not a good time to be outside. So, pantyhose. Not pantyhose, knee-highs. They're stretchy. One of these would probably stretch to go around the melon. 2 times. You probably could get 2 or 3 supports from one of these. So what else do I have here? Do you recognize tulle? Whoops. Tulle. Knitting. Think about a bridal veil. I have a piece of it. I have a whole piece of it. That's hard to see against this white background. But I have a whole piece of this tulle. And I could cut it into strips. And then use, and it's stretchy. See that? Can you see it stretching? You can order this online at fabric stores too, like fabric.com, places like that. You can get tulle if you don't have any locally. Now I got these. This is more tulle that I got a few years ago and did some crafts with, and it's already cut in strips. That's about a 6-inch wide strip. And it's not a yard long, maybe it's like 24 inches long maybe. That's about a foot, so I would say about 24 inches long, 6 inches wide, and if you fold it in half, you might actually be able to tie it like so around your trellis. Or you could do what I did. I used one of these on my Kajari melon outside. I have several pieces of tulle. And then, of course, there's this. You recognize this mesh as what you would get onions or potatoes at the grocery. And it is a mesh. And you would just put your fruit in it like that. And at the same thing, you could take the clip like this and put it through the mesh. I still have my tag on that. Anyway, you could put through the mesh like so, and then use it to support your melon. And the same thing goes here with bird netting. I have a roll of bird netting. Of course, everybody has rolls of bird netting, right? Can you see it? I don't know if you can see that there's the fine mesh. Again, so I cut it across the netting, so it's quite wide. And so one piece, this is about 8 inches wide, and the width of the net. And so one piece of this would probably hold 4. And again, the same thing. You take the net, you put it around your melon, and you use the support, and put it through the other wire and hang your melon in it, okay? And now, of course, you do not have to use these supports. I just happen to have them. Put a piece of string, a piece of yarn, a ribbon, whatever you have that you can tie into a knot, and thread it through a hole and use it to support your melon. That's all it takes. You probably could just loop a piece of string underneath the melon and tie it to the support. I don't know why that wouldn't work. Or the ribbon itself. A ribbon is wider. You could use a ribbon and tie the ribbon around it. Or a piece of tape. Not like Scotch tape, I mean like a fabric kind of tape. Now, are you ready to do some macrame? Okay, y'all, let's get started. Now we're going to do something a little bit different. This isn't the traditional macrame, if you're familiar with macrame. So what I've done, I've got 4 pieces of yarn, about a yard long each. And we're going to, as you see, move my hands. Can you see that there's 4 pieces of yarn there? Now what I'm going to find the middle of it. So bring the cut ends together. Finger at the other end of it like there. And I'm just going to tie a knot right here. Overhand knot, granny knot. Now this is going to be the base. This is going to be the bottom of this, we'll call it a sling, for better, whatever, plant support. A melon bra. So now what I'm going to do, take this, divide these into four pieces. There's 2 on this side, and 2 on this side. There we go, like that. Now, what we're going to do at this point is we're going to take one strand. So each of these 2 pieces are double strands. You see that? Where we started off with 4, because we tied it in the middle, we now have 4 double strands, like so. Let's do this. Keep that in the middle so you can see it better. We're done. Okay, so let's go ahead and tie a knot in each one of these pairs to join them. So there's the first one. Just tie an overhand knot, and I'll do this 4 times. Overhand knot, granny knot, whatever you want to call it. So there we go. Now I'm going to make it about an inch or 2 long. We'll just continue. So now I'll do, so we've got those 2. Now I'm going to do these 2. Well, that'll be fine. I'm going to go counterclockwise. Tie those in, and then just continue. And we'll do, after this one, we'll do it 2 more times. Want them to be about the same length. Doesn't have to be exact, but close. We want them to meet up about the same spot. When we put this back on here, we don't want to be one to be here and one to be there. You see what I mean? We don't want one of the knots to be up here and the other knot to be down there. You want them to be pretty evenly spaced around the bottom of it. So we'll do those 2, do these 2. I'm going to measure it next to the one next to it. There we go. Pretty close. And this last one. So they're all about the same. Now we're going to do the same thing one more time. So there's the first round done, and we're going to repeat. 1 strand of each of these pairs tied with 1 strand of the next pair. Where does that knot need to be? We want the knots to line up. So it needs to be about there, right? So this one needs to be, the next knot needs to line up with this one. So I'm going to hold it here. And just keep it loose and just make it even, or as even as you can get it, and that's close enough. And we'll do the same thing over here with this next one. So this piece right here is going to tie with this one. Bring it down here. You can see it. You know what? This one has a loop in it that shouldn't be there. We probably can loosen that one and fix it. Which one is it? That's good enough. And then we'll do the last one again, like we did before. So here's what we have. Like that. Now all we have to do, we can do it one more time if we want to. Let's see what we have. Okay, so what we have a shape like that. So there's one knot in the middle to tie it together. Then there's this first knot, second knot, third knot, fourth knot. And then we did one more round of those together to make a total of 9 knots right in here. And it makes a square like that. Approximately. It's not perfect. This square is bigger than that one. They're not exactly the same size, but it works. I'll show you. Let's put this right there. The navel on the orange. And pick up these 2. And these 2. And these 2. And pick it up, and it works. So now all we have to do is make it where it's going to, we can attach it to the trellis. And if we do that, all we would really have to do would be to tie it together again. So let's take this strand and just tie another knot in it. Now these you really do want to have at the same spot. You want them to be the same length. Okay, so the next one needs to be here. Or we could do it this way too. This at the end needs to be the same length, because they all started off as the same, right? That makes more sense. So let's be sure that this end right here is the same length. Together. It's the same. Okay, and one more. This not to be the same length as these other ones. Looks about right. Let's see. We hold them together. Do they line up? Yes, they do. So there we go. We've made a sling, a melon bra. And let me show you how this is going to work. We can use the same clip that we used and put it through this here, and the next one, and the next one, and the next one. And then just clip it together, and that'll support your melon like that. Or you could do what I did a little while ago. If you don't have any of these, I had these. I had that. Let's see what it is. Hardware store. Took 2 pliers, and I bent it apart to make sort of an S shape. If it wasn't lopsided, it would be an S shape. And you do the same thing. So you can take one loop of this, and let's do the same thing. So put it through here and here. Is that all of them? Look, there's one missing. Get this one too. Okay, now those are all looped on there. And then you can take this end of the hook and just hook it onto your trellis. And that'll hold it. Or you can just get a piece of wire and just string a piece of wire, a twist tie, a cable tie, anything to connect these loops together at the top. And then that'll hold your melon in place, and it's not going to fall to the ground. We're going to defy gravity. So bye, y'all. See you next time.